What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I am Deus Ex Machina. This is my sporting channel, DEM Sports. I also have a gaming channel called DEM Gaming. So, this is the video that I teased in my last one that I said not a lot of people are going to agree with my take on it. And so, yeah, let's just hop right in. This is the subject that just does not seem to go away. Came back up a couple weeks ago, making the rounds on social media. We're talking about this, the West Virginia Alabama series. I'm just going to throw it out there. You probably already guessed it. I don't like this series. I wish we could get out of it. I wish Alabama would honestly just cancel it and pay us a bunch of money to not play them. But I don't think that's going to happen. But if both sides just mutually agreed to part ways, I would be okay with that. I'm going to go through some arguments, and I will tell you why they don't really hold water to me. But yeah, we don't have any history with Alabama. Nick Saban's not even there anymore, so we don't even have that like little pseudo Nick Saban West Virginia connection. So why are we even playing them? It's basically just a guaranteed loss. And I get that the Neil Brown era is over, but I mean even then I feel like you're going from like a 0% chance of winning to like a 5 or 10% chance of winning. We're going to be massive underdogs. And I just don't see it happening. So the first argument that I see for why you need to play games like this, you need to play good teams to prepare for the season. I mean, that's a very subjective take. I just don't really believe it. You're telling me if we don't play Alabama, we're not going to be prepared to play Colorado or Utah or BYU. We can play other teams and still get prepared and still be ready for our regular season. Honestly, I think the thing that helps us the most, that will give us the most momentum and the most confidence, is just winning. Just win. That's all you got to do. Just win, baby. Go 3-0 in your non-conference schedule, and then come back to home field, sell out Milan Puskar Stadium. You've got fan hype. You've got you get 60,000 people in there and rocking. Let's get our home field advantage back. We haven't had a home field advantage in years because the fans are just so, frustrated with the product on the field. But you know what fixes that? Winning. So let's just win. College football changes so much year to year, you don't know who'll be good or bad. That's the second argument I hear. And yeah, you're right. Florida State went from being 13-0 to winning 2 games last year. So could Alabama fall off a cliff? I guess, but you really think that's going to happen? Do you really think their donors are going to let that happen? No, they're just going to go out and keep buying rosters over and over, and they're just going to, they're always going to be a top 10 team for the foreseeable future, at least. And then likewise, you have teams like Indiana, who went from being a 3-win team 2 years ago to going 11-1 and going into the playoffs last year. But you know how they did that? They didn't play Bama in their non-conference schedule. If they did, do you think they would be 11-1? No, they would have been 10-2, and then they wouldn't have made the playoffs at 10-2. And you know who would have made the playoffs if Indiana was 10-2? Alabama would have. So what? There's, I just, that argument doesn't hold any weight to me whatsoever. Third one, strength of schedule matters if you want to make the playoffs. Yeah, okay, let's get back to this Indiana thing then. Their non-conference schedule last year, and they made the playoffs with this non-conference schedule. Florida International, and it only gets much worse from there. Western Illinois and Charlotte. I actually had to Google it and write it down because I was like, I've never even heard of those two teams. I thought they played 2 FCS teams. I was like, did they play 2 FCS teams? Western Illinois and Charlotte? Apparently Charlotte joined the FBS a couple years ago. I didn't even know that. I know nothing about these two teams. And they made the playoffs. So tell me again about how strength of schedule matters. It don't matter. And the other thing is, we were talking on the social media and stuff about getting rid of Alabama to bring in Pitt, or it's not like we're completely tanking the non-conference schedule. We're not going to play that. We're going to bring in probably another power team. So the strength of schedule will still be there. We're just going to bring in a power team that we actually have a chance of winning. And the other thing that completely, is, that would completely annihilate this is if we actually move towards that automatic qualifier system that they want, that 4-4-2-2-1-3 or whatever it is, because all you got to do, just like Indiana, just win. All you got to do is win. and you're in. Win your conference. Even right now, with just having one automatic qualifier, win your conference and you're in. So you don't really need the strength of schedule. The Big 12 is not going to get 2 or 3 at-large teams in, no matter how good of a strength of schedule and stuff. I mean, but if we go to, especially if we start getting 2 automatic qualifiers, just finish in the top 2 of the conference. You don't have to play a bunch of non-conference, craziness. Which I'm not a big fan of that anyway, because I feel like it will make the non-conference schedule pretty meaningless. But the last argument is big games are fun and the fans deserve to see us play big games. Yeah, they are a lot of fun. I mean, they are. I can't argue that. I've been there for some big games and they're a lot of fun. That build-up, last year, the build-up to the Penn State game was amazing. I've been to Morgantown both times game day was there, and what the Pat McAfee show did blew those game days away. I mean, he had like twice as many people there as even game day did. It looked amazing. It looked crazy on TV. I wasn't there for it. I was just watching on. I was actually watching on my phone while I was at work. But yeah, it looked amazing. But you know what wasn't fun? When it was 20-6 at halftime. The games are fun until until you start getting your butts kicked on the field and you start to realize they're bigger than us, they're faster than us, they're stronger than us, they have more depth than us, and that's what I'm afraid is going to happen with this Alabama game. It's going to get all this hype and all this buildup, and then we're going to lose. That 2011 game against LSU, everybody, remembers that game pretty fondly. I was actually there for it. But the final score is 47-21. We lost by almost 4 touchdowns. It was 27-7 at halftime. Yeah, we scored 14 points to open the second half, but we had to do that just to get back into it. And the stadium was rocking. It was crazy, but we were still down by 6 points. We scored 14 unanswered points just to get back into the game, and then LSU finally woke up again in the second half and just took off again. Penn State, and 2 years ago, they beat us 38-15. Last year was 34-12, not much better. We're losing by 3-4 touchdowns to these teams. And I don't think that that's good for anybody. I don't think that's good for our spirit as fans. We want to be excited. We want to be hyped about our team. We don't want to see our team lose by 4 touchdowns. So that's my thought on it. I would much rather get out of this Alabama game, play a team like Pitt or even Penn State again, even though you're just changing one blue blood for another. But at least we have some history with Penn State. But I'd much rather see us play Pitt or Virginia Tech again. Even bring in a team like Louisville or some of these old Big East teams. Boston College, Syracuse. Syracuse has actually been pretty good recently. They just got like a 5-star receiver. I saw. I was like, this 5-star guy's going to Syracuse. Whatever. Anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I can already hear the keyboards clicking away down the comment section telling me I'm everything from an idiot and a moron to a pussy who wants to dodge Alabama. Okay, whatever. That's just my thoughts on it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video and have a great rest of your weekend. And thank you for watching.